The locker
It was
room
my
smelled like
fault.
sweat and cheap body spray. The
I
kind
didn't
that
mean
clung
for
to
it to
everything like a
happen.
bad memory. Aiden slammed
my
his fist
fault.
into the metal door,
All of
the
it.
echo ringing out like a gunshot. But it was the
I
laughter,
couldn't tell anyone.
sharp, merciless, that cut deepest, slicing through the humid air as half a dozen football jocks circled him like wolves scenting blood. "Faggot thinks he can hide it," one sneered, shoving Aiden's shoulder hard enough to send him stumbling into the bench, his backpack spilling notebooks across the grimy tile floor. "Shut up, man," Aiden muttered, voice cracking like thin ice. But he didn't look up, couldn't? Not when his heart was pounding so loud it drowned out the jeers. Not when the word faggot hung in the air like smoke from a dumpster fire. And then, in that frozen second before the next punch landed, Aiden's world tilted, a crumpled photo fluttered from his bag. Him and Jordan locked in a stolen kiss under the bleachers last Friday night. The one secret he'd guarded fiercer than his own breath. Aiden Harper had always known he was different, like a glitch in the small-town code of Elmwood High. Tucked in the flat, cornfield-dotted sprawl of central Ohio where Friday nights meant bonfires and pickup trucks, and Sundays were for church potlucks that tasted like judgment wrapped in Jell-O salad. At 17, he was the kid with the thrift store jeans and the sketchbook perpetually tucked under his arm, doodling faces that looked too much like the boys who never looked back. Elmwood was the kind of place where family values meant keeping your mouth shut about anything that didn't fit the Norman Rockwell poster on the guidance counselor's wall. And Aiden? He was the smudge on that canvas, the one everyone pretended not to see until it was time to rub it out. That photo on the locker room floor? It wasn't just a snapshot, it was a grenade with the pin pulled. Jordan Ellis, star quarterback, golden boy with the easy grin and the Letterman jacket that smelled like fresh-cut grass and possibility, had snapped it on a whim, their lips brushing in the shadow of the stadium lights after practice. "For us," Jordan had whispered, his breath warm against Aiden's ear, fingers lingering on the phone like he was afraid to let go. But now, as the pack of jocks, led by Tyler, the Tank, Bradshaw, Jordan's own cousin, stomped on Aiden's scattered notes, that "us" felt like a lie carved in wet sand. "Yo, Ellis, you see this shit?" Tyler bellowed, holding up the photo like a trophy, his meaty fist crumpling the edges. The room went dead silent, all eyes snapping to the doorway where Jordan stood frozen, towel slung over his shoulder, fresh from the showers. Water dripped from his blonde curls, tracing paths down his broad chest. But his face? It was a mask cracking at the seams, blue eyes wide, jaw locked so tight Aiden could hear the grind from across the room. Jordan's gaze flicked to Aiden, then away, fast as a flinch. "What the hell? Harper?" he said, voice flat, like he'd rehearsed it in the mirror. The words landed like a slap, colder than the tile under Aiden's knees. Tyler hooted, passing the photo around, the pack erupting in whistles and slurs that blurred into white noise. "Queer. Fancy. Freak." Aiden lunged for the picture, but Tyler kicked it out of reach, boot prints smearing the glossy side. "Jordan, tell them it's fake," Aiden pleaded, scrambling on all fours, voice raw as he grabbed at the hem of Jordan's shorts. But Jordan stepped back, crossing his arms, that quarterback poise turning to stone. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You got the wrong idea." The denial hung there, poisonous. And something in Aiden shattered, not the photo, which Tyler finally tore in half and let flutter to the floor like confetti at a funeral, but the fragile bridge he'd built between his heart and this godforsaken school. By the time the bell rang for fifth period, Aiden was nursing a split lip in the bathroom mirror, the fluorescent buzz overhead mocking him like a fluorescent laugh track. He dabbed at the blood with wetted toilet paper, tasting copper and salt, his reflection a stranger, hazel eyes rimmed red, cheekbone blooming purple. Elmwood High was a pressure cooker of 800 kids in a town of 5,000, where rumors spread faster than flu season. And Aiden's secret had been leaking for months. The sidelong glances in the cafeteria, the accidental shoves in the halls, the graffiti on his locker that read "Tideseiden" in Sharpie, it all built to this. The explosion he dreaded since the day he realized boys, not girls, made his pulse stutter like a bad engine. He skipped English, holing up in the art room where Ennis Riley, the chain-smoking bohemian with the rainbow pin on her lanyard, pretended not to notice the fresh bruise. She was the only adult who didn't tiptoe around him, the one who'd slipped him a dog-eared copy of Giovanni's Room last spring with a wink that said, "You're not alone." Aiden sketched furiously now, charcoal smudging his fingers black as he roughed out Jordan's face, not the heroic one from the yearbook, but this new one, twisted in betrayal, eyes averted like Aiden was a stain he couldn't scrub out. "Why'd you do it?" Aiden whispered to the drawing, as if the paper could answer. Jordan wasn't like Tyler, he was the exception, the one who'd lingered after Chem Lab last fall, bumping shoulders and murmuring about how Aiden's laugh sounded like summer rain. Their first kiss had been tentative, under the oak tree by the football field, Jordan's hands trembling as they cupped Aiden's face. "I've never." "With a guy," he'd confessed, voice barely above the crickets. "But with you? Feels right." Weeks of stolen moments followed, hands brushing in the supply closet, texts at 2 a.m. that read "Miss your voice." Makeout sessions in Jordan's truck parked on some back road where the stars didn't judge. But family was Jordan's kryptonite. Tyler lived in the basement of the Ellis house. And Coach Ellis, Jordan's dad, was the kind of man who quoted Bible verses at halftime to toughen up the boys. Aiden had pushed it down, the fear that one day Jordan's world would choose sides. Today was that day. The final bell droned like a death knell, and Aiden slunk to his beat-up Honda Civic in the parking lot, the photo's remnants burning a hole in his pocket. He drove the 5 miles home to the trailer park on the edge of town, where his mom worked double shifts at the diner and his dad was a ghost who'd bailed when Aiden was 10, leaving behind a stack of unpaid bills and a closet full of flannel shirts Aiden sometimes wore just to feel less alone. The trailer sagged under the weight of faded American flags and satellite dishes, but inside, it was warm with the smell of Mom's meatloaf reheating on the stove. "What, baby? Rough day?" asked, wiping flour from her hands on her apron, her eyes, same hazel as his, narrowing at the lip. She was tough as boot leather, a single mom who'd clawed her way through community college night classes, but her hugs were the kind that mended fractures. "Just gym class bullshit," Aiden lied, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He couldn't tell her about Jordan, she'd hug him fiercer. Sure. But the worry lines on her forehead would deepen, and Elmwood's whispers had a way of seeping into everything, even here. Dinner was quiet, the TV droning Fox News in the background about some politician railing against traditional values. Aiden picked at his food, mind replaying the locker room on loop. By bedtime, he was curled under his Star Wars comforter, a relic from when life was Legos and lightsabers, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a broken heart. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Heard what happened?" You okay? Aiden's thumb hovered, rage and longing twisting like vines. Fuck you? Then deleted it. What? The reply came fast. I panicked. Tyler's crazy. Meet me tomorrow? Please. He shouldn't. Good. He knew he shouldn't. Below. Even the jagged kind has hooks that dig deep. Aiden set the alarm for dawn, whispering to the dark. One more chance. That's all you get. The next morning, the high school parking lot shimmered with frost. The American flag snapping crisp against a November sky the color of faded denim. Aiden waited by the bleachers, breath fogging the air. His sketchbook clutched like a shield. Jordan appeared from the haze, hood up, scanning like a fugitive. Aid, he started, voice low, pulling him into the shadow of the metal seats. Don't, Aiden snapped, holding up a hand. You threw me to the wolves yesterday. For what? Your cousin's approval? Jordan winced, rubbing the back of his neck. That boyish habit that used to make Aiden's stomach flip. It wasn't like that. Tyler's been on my ass about hanging with you, says you're influencing me or some bullshit. Dad's been weird too. After the game last week. I can't lose everything. Aiden's laugh was bitter, echoing off the empty field. Lose everything? What about me? I'm the one getting my face rearranged. Jordan stepped closer, the heat of him cutting through the chill, his hand ghosting Aiden's arm. I'm sorry. I was a coward. But I love you. Okay? That photo? It's us. Real. His lips brushed Aiden's temple. Tentative. And damn if Aiden didn't melt into it. The kiss deepening until the world narrowed to Jordan's pine-scented jacket and the distant rumble of school buses. They broke apart at the warning bell. Jordan pressing a crumpled note into Aiden's palm, lunch. Usual spot. No more hiding. Aiden nodded, pocketing it like contraband, a spark of hope flickering against the bruise on his heart. But hope in Elmwood was a fragile thing, easily crushed under the heel of small-town spite. By lunch, the whispers had metastasized, the photo fragments passed like contraband in homeroom. Tyler's crew amplifying the story into legend. Aiden slipped into the boiler room, their usual spot, a forgotten corner behind the humming furnace where dust motes danced in slivers of light. Jordan was there, leaning against the wall, but not alone. Tyler loomed in the doorway, arms crossed, a smirk splitting his face like a fault line. Caught you? Cuz, Tyler drawled, eyes raking over Aiden like he was roadkill. Jordan straightened, color draining from his face. Get out. This ain't your business. Oh. But it is, Tyler shot back, stepping forward, blocking the exit. Coach knows now. Said if you don't man up and cut this fairy loose, you're off the team. Family first? Right. Jordan's fists clenched, but his gaze darted to Aiden, to fear. A plea. The betrayal hit like a blindside tackle. Aiden shoved past Tyler, shoulder clipping the doorframe, tears hot on his cheeks as he bolted down the hall. Behind him, Jordan's voice chased, "Wait, it's not," but it was. It always was. That night, Aiden didn't eat. He sat at his rickety desk, the trailer quiet except for Mom's snores from the next room, and pulled out a fresh notebook. The words poured out like blood from a reopened wound, not sketches this time. but a letter. Brought. Bewildered. A howl wrapped in ink. To the wolves who bite. The friends who flee. The town that turns away, this is what it costs to be me. He wrote of the isolation. The fear. The love that bloomed anyway. Fierce and unapologetic. Pages filled. The more. Until his hand cramped and the clock read 3 a.m. By dawn, the note was done, 10 pages of truth, folded into an envelope addressed to the principal, with copies for the school paper, the local rag, and, God help him, Jordan. Aiden sealed it with trembling fingers, whispering, "Let them choke on it." Monday morning hit Elmwood High like a nor'easter, the kind that rattled windows and turned the parking lot into a mud pit under churning tires. Aiden arrived early, the envelope burning in his backpack like a live coal, his split lips scabbed over but throbbing in time with his pulse. He'd barely slept, replaying the boiler room scene, Tyler's gloating grin, Jordan's half-hearted protest fading into the slam of the door. Aiden thought, was just a prettier word for masochism in a place like this. The halls buzzed with pre-bell chaos, lockers clanging, girls giggling over TikToks, the faint undercurrent of Axe body spray masking the desperation of adolescence. Aiden kept his head down, weaving through the throng like a ghost, but eyes followed him anyway. Whispers slithered, "That's the queer kid, heard he tried to jump Ellis, fucking perv." By first period, someone had taped a printed screenshot to his locker, a blurry close-up of the torn photo. Captioned Elmwood's little secret in Comic Sans, because cruelty always had a juvenile font. He ripped it down, fingers shaking, and shoved it into his pocket with the envelope. English class dragged. Mrs. Hargrove droning about the Great Gatsby and its tragic illusions of the American dream, her voice a monotonous hum that Aiden tuned out. Scribbling margins with doodles of broken hearts pierced by arrows labeled trust and lies. Across the room, Jordan slouched in his seat, staring at the floor, his usual swagger deflated like a punctured football. Their eyes met once, a collision of apology and accusation. But Aiden looked away first, the sting too fresh. The lunch. The cafeteria was a battlefield of plastic trays and tribal cliques, cheerleaders at one end, band geeks huddled in the corner, jocks holding court by the vending machines. Aiden grabbed a soggy slice of pizza and a carton of milk, seeking refuge at his usual table by the window, where the Ohio flatlands stretched gray and endless. But solitude was a luxury he couldn't afford today. Riley slid into the seat across from him, her thermos of coffee steaming like a peace offering. "Rough week already." "Huh?" she said, not mincing words, her voice low enough to blend with the clatter of silverware. The rainbow pin glinted under the harsh fluorescence, a quiet flag in enemy territory. Aiden poked at his pizza, cheese congealing like his resolve. "You could say that. Tyler and his goons turned my life into a bad after-school special." She nodded. No pity, just the steady gaze of someone who'd walked similar halls decades ago. "Kids like him? They're scared shitless of what they don't understand. Doesn't make it right, but it makes M predictable." She sipped her coffee, eyeing the envelope peeking from his bag. "What's that?" "Your manifesto." To a short bark that surprised him. "Something like that. Tired of playing the victim? Figured I'd go down swinging." Her smile was crooked, approving. "Read Ginsberg last night, huh? Reminded me of you." I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. But you're not destroyed. You're just getting started. She squeezed his forearm, then stood. Drop that note in the principal's box before you chicken out. And Aiden? You're braver than you know. Her words lingered like afterglow as he navigated the afternoon gauntlet. Gym was torture, dodgeball. Of all things, where Tyler accidentally pegged him in the ribs, the impact blooming pain across his side. Oops. Fairy dust, Tyler jeered, high-fiving his buddies while Coach Ellis blew his whistle without a glance. Jordan was on the opposite team, lobbing balls half-heartedly, his throws veering wide whenever Aiden was in range. After class, in the locker room's toxic haze, Aiden changed fast, avoiding mirrors, the bruises on his torso mapping a constellation of hurt. The principal's office was at the end of the admin wing, a beige bunker guarded by Mrs. Kowalski's perpetual scowl and a stack of detention slips. Aiden's heart jackhammered as he approached, the envelope slick in his palm. What if they burn it? What if no one cares? But Riley's voice echoed, "You're getting started," and he slid it under the door, the soft thud echoing like a declaration of war. Freedom tasted like adrenaline and dread. He texted Mom a quick late club meeting. Love you. Then headed to the library, the one sanctuary where dust and dewy decimals muffled the world's noise. Curled in a beanbag by the fiction stacks, he pulled out his sketchbook, flipping past Jordan's betrayed portrait to a blank page. Charcoal flew, not anger this time, but longing, a half-finished face of himself, standing on a city street with skyscrapers clawing the sky. New York maybe? Or San Francisco? Anywhere but here. A shadow fell across the page. Drawing escape routes? Jordan. Of course. He dropped into the beanbag beside Aiden, close enough that their knees brushed. The scent of him, Irish spring and desperation, flooding Aiden's senses. What do you want? Ellis? Another round of denial? Jordan exhaled, running a hand through his hair, leaving it spiked like a crown of thorns. To explain. Ty cornered me after lunch, said if I don't fix this, he'll tell Dad everything. Coach already pulled me aside, asked if I'm distracted by that artsy kid. Ed. My scholarship's everything. State U? Football? Getting out of this shithole, it's my ticket. Aiden's pencil snapped in his grip, lead scattering like shattered trust. And I'm what? Collateral damage? Your little experiment. No. Jordan's whisper was fierce, his hand shooting out to grab Aiden's wrist. You're the only real thing I've got. Last night, I couldn't sleep. Kept seeing your face when I bailed. I hate myself for it. His thumb traced circles on Aiden's skin. The plea and the touch. And Aiden hated how his body betrayed him, leaning in despite the war in his chest. They kissed there, in the library's hush. Slow and searing, Jordan's free hand cupping the back of Aiden's neck like he was anchoring a storm. It was forgiveness Aiden didn't know he had left, tongues tangling with the salt of unshed tears. We'll figure it out, Jordan murmured against his lips. After the game Friday. Big rivalry. If we win, maybe Dad chills. Then I tell him. About us. Aiden pulled back, searching those blue eyes for the lie, finding only fractured hope. Promise. Swear on my life. Jordan grinned, that lopsided one that crinkled his eyes. And for a moment, The library felt like a bubble, impervious to Elmwood's venom. But bubbles burst. Friday's game against Riverton High was Elmwood's Super Bowl. The stands packed with flannel-clad parents clutching thermoses of spiked cocoa. The field lights blazing like interrogation lamps. Aiden sat midway up the bleachers, sketchbook open but untouched, cheering half-heartedly as Jordan dodged tackles, his throws arcing perfect spirals under the Friday night lights. The score seesawed, 21-21 at halftime, and the crowd's roar was a living thing, vibrating through Aiden's bones. Halftime show, the band mangled Sweet Caroline, cheerleaders cartwheeling in sequin tops. Aiden slipped away to the concession stand for a hot dog slathered in mustard, the mustard mirroring the knot in his gut. Tara was there, of course, chugging a Gatorade, his lineman bulk blocking the counter. "Harper, come to wave your rainbow flag." Aiden stiffened, but Riley's words armored him. "Just here for the game, Bradshaw." "Like everyone else," Tyler snorted, stepping closer, voice dropping to a growl. "Stay away from my cousin, or that note you dropped. It'll be public toilet paper by Monday." He knew. Somehow, the leak had reached him already. Aiden's blood ran cold. "You threatening me?" "Promising." Tyler clapped him on the shoulder, hard, then sauntered back to the field, leaving Aiden's hot dog forgotten on the counter. The second half was carnage. Riverton surged ahead, 28-21. The clock ticking mercilessly. With seconds left, Jordan took the snap, fake left, and hurled a Hail Mary that sailed into the end zone, caught. Touchdown. Elmwood erupted, the bleachers shaking as fans spilled onto the field in a tide of hugs and high-fives. Aiden watched from the sidelines, heart swelling despite everything, Jordan's silhouette cutting through the chaos like a beacon. But beacons flicker. As the celebration peaked, Tyler grabbed Jordan in a bear hug, whispering something that made Jordan's smile falter. Then, eyes scanning the crowd, Jordan spotted Aiden and waved him over. A quick jerk of the head. Heart in his throat, Aiden pushed through the throng, the grass slick under his sneakers. "Great game," Aiden said, breathless, as Jordan pulled him into the shadows behind the scoreboard. "Couldn't have done it without you in the stands," Jordan replied, voice husky, his championship sweat glistening under the lights. They kissed again, deeper this time, the roar of the crowd a distant thunder. "Told Ty to back off." "And Dad, after this high, I'll talk to him." Tonight, Aiden's doubt melted in the heat of it. "I believe you." They parted with linked pinkies, the secret vow. But as Aiden turned toward the parking lot, a hand clamped his shoulder, face twisted in fury. "You think that's over? Watch this." He shoved his phone in Aiden's face, a video, grainy but unmistakable, of their library kiss. Time-stamped yesterday. Sent to Coach. And the team group chat. "You're done." Aiden staggered back, the world tilting. Jordan's promise shattered like the phone screen Tyler cracked against the goalpost for emphasis. He ran then, blind through the celebrating masses, to his car, where he sat shaking until the lot emptied, tears carving rivers down his face. Home was no refuge. Mom was pulling a graveyard shift, the trailer dark and echoing. Aiden blasted Paramore from his Bluetooth speaker, Misery Business, the lyrics a mirror to his rage, and unearthed the notebook. The note he'd written Sunday was just the spark, now. He fanned it into a blaze. He revised, expended, poured every scar into the words. The first time he'd been called a slur in 3rd grade. The nights he'd cried himself to sleep dreaming of a dad who stayed. The terror of loving Jordan in a town that equated difference with damnation. This isn't a cry for pity, he wrote. It's a mirror. Look at yourselves. By 2 a.m. It was 20 pages. A manifesto bound with a rubber band. He emailed copies to Miss Riley, the school paper advisor, and Reckless Hope, a blind CC to Jordan. Then, collapsing into bed, he whispered to the ceiling, "Burn it all down." Saturday dawned brittle. The kind of Midwest autumn day where leaves skittered like accusations across empty streets. Aiden avoided his phone. The notifications piling up like indictments, texts from unknown numbers, freak. A voicemail from MS. Riley, proud of you. Kid, it's going viral in the faculty lounge. But one message pierced Jordan. Saw the note. Meet at the oak tree, 4 p.m. Need to explain. Aiden's resolve wavered. The oak was their spot. Sacred ground. He went against every screaming instinct, finding Jordan there with a 6-pack of stolen Bud Light and eyes red-rimmed as his own. I didn't know about the video till after, Jordan blurted, thrusting a beer at him. Ty's a psycho. I confronted him, punched him, even. Dad's pissed. Benched me for next game. Aiden took the beer. Foam spilling sticky on his fingers. But didn't drink. And? You gonna stand up now? Or is this another timeout? Jordan dropped to one knee in the dirt. Not a proposal but a plea. Grabbing Aiden's hands. I'm done hiding. The note. It gutted me. Made me see how I've been complicit. I love you, Ed. Full stop. We'll fight this together. The kiss that followed was desperate. Tasting of hops and redemption. Jordan's tears mingling with Aiden's. They lay under the oak as dusk fell. Whispering plans, transfer credits. Run away to Columbus after graduation. Build a life where love wasn't a crime. For the first time in weeks, Aiden slept without nightmares. But Elmwood didn't sleep. Sunday's local paper hit doorsteps with a front-page teaser. Students' letter exposes bullying culture at EHS. By Monday, the note was everywhere, shared on Facebook groups, dissected in staff meetings, the principal's office a war room of damage control. The fallout crashed over Elmwood High like a flash flood, turning the mundane Monday into a maelstrom of raised voices and red-rimmed eyes. Aiden stepped off the bus into a parking lot dotted with news vans, Channel 6 from Columbus, even a stringer from Cleveland, cameras swiveling like vultures scenting scandal. His note had escaped the envelope's confines overnight. Photocopied and proliferated by MS. Riley's quiet insurgency, hitting inboxes and social feeds with the force of a viral confession. Elmwood truth trended locally. Tweets from alumni pouring in. This is why I left. Knew it was bad. But damn. Aiden's phone vibrated non-stop in his pocket. A hornet's nest of alerts. He silenced it. Shoulders squared under his hoodie. The bruises from last week's beatdown faded to yellow ghosts, but the emotional ones fresh as open wounds. Kids parted for him in the halls. Not with shoves now but stares, some pitying, some hostile. A few flickering with something like a... His locker was clean. The graffiti scrubbed. replaced by a single sticky note, "You're not alone, art club." First period, assembly in the gym, announced over crackling PA as mandatory character education. The bleachers groaned under 800 restless bodies. The air thick with whispered speculation. Principal Hargrove, Mrs. Chichester, irony's cruel joke, took the mic, her bob haircut quivering as she cleared her throat. Today, we're addressing a serious matter raised by one of our students. Aiden Harper has bravely shared his experiences, and while we condemn any form of harassment, boos rippled from the jock section. Tyler's crew pounding feet like war drums. "Bullshit," someone yelled, voice cracking into adolescence. Hargrove's face tightened, but she pressed on, projecting Aiden's note on the gym's ancient screen via overhead projector. Pages scrolling like an indictment. "I've been called every name in the book. Had my things destroyed. My body marked. But the worst? The silence from those who know better." Jordan sat 3 rows down, his Letterman jacket slung over the bleacher, knuckles white on the wood. Their eyes locked across the divide, his a storm of regret and resolve. It nodded, micro-thin, a lifeline tossed into the chaos. Riley commandeered the mic, her voice steady as rebar. "This isn't admin spin. This is a call to action." Aiden's words aren't just his, they're a mirror for all of us. "Who's ready to look?" She opened the floor, and the gym fractured. A freshman girl stood, admitting she'd ignored slurs against her trans cousin. A band kid confessed to cyberbullying a classmate over weight. The air shifted, confessions tumbling like dominoes. But Tyler wasn't done. Midway through, he surged to his feet, face beet red. "This is crap. Harper's a liar, twisting shit to play victim. My cousin's straight as an arrow, that photo was faked." The gym hushed, all eyes on Jordan, who rose slow, like a man mounting the gallows. "Shut your mouth, Ty," Jordan said, voice carrying clear to the rafters. He climbed the steps to the podium, Hargrove yielding with a stunned blink. "Aiden's not lying. The photo? The kisses? Me being a chicken shit who let you bully him? Realest thing I've ever admitted." Gasps rippled, phones whipping out to capture the quarterback's fall from grace. Tyler lunged forward, but 2 teachers intercepted, hauling him back as he spat slurs. Jordan turned to Aiden, mic in hand, the spotlight haloing him like a confessor. "I'm sorry. For the locker room, the boiler room, every time I chose fear over you. But no more. I love him. And if that gets me benched, so whatever, worth it." He dropped the mic with a feedback screech, descending to pull Aiden into a hug that the whole school witnessed, cheers and jeers clashing like cymbals. The assembly dissolved into pandemonium, hugs, arguments, a few kids bolting for the exits. Aiden clung to Jordan, the press of bodies a buffer against the vertigo, whispering, "You meant it. Every word." Jordan's grin was shaky, his hand finding Aiden's in the crush. But high tides recede. After school, the real storm broke. Coach Ellis waited by Aiden's Civic, arms crossed over his clipboard, face carved from granite. "Harper." A word. Aiden froze, keys biting into his palm. Jordan hovered, but Coach waved him off. "Family matter? Son." Go home. Alone under the sodium lights? Coach's voice was low thunder. You happy? Turn my boy against me. That note of yours, poison. Jordan's off the team. Scholarship in the toilet. You think love fixes that? Aiden's chin lifted. Riley's echo in his spine. I think hiding breaks it. Blame me if you want. But Tyler started this. You let it. Coach's laugh was hollow. Small town. Rules ain't changing for one fairy tale. He stalked off, leaving Aiden trembling, the victory souring like milk left in the sun. Home brought no solace. Mom was waiting. The local paper spread on the kitchen table. Aiden's note excerpted in bold. Baby, she said, pulling him into a flour-dusted embrace. Whole diner's talking. Proud don't cover it. But pride cracked under the night's barrage. Voicemails from school board members demanding retractions. Texts from Tyler, you're dead. And worst, a call from Jordan, voice muffled, like he was hiding in a closet. Dad flipped. Locked my phone. Grounded eternal. But Aid? I meant the assembly. Sneak out tomorrow? Oak tree. Aiden agreed. Because addiction dies hard. But sleep evaded him. The ceiling stain mocking his fragile peace. Tuesday blurred into triage. Counselors on speed dial. Anti-bullying workshops crammed into the schedule. Hargrove's emails promising systemic change. Aiden skipped lunch for the art room. Riley high-fived him over lukewarm coffee. You're a catalyst. Board meeting tonight. They're suspending Tyler pending investigation. The news buoyed him through algebra. But the oak tree rendezvous loomed like a dare. Dusk painted the field bruised purple as Aiden parked his Civic off the access road, crunching through frost-kissed grass. Jordan emerged from the shadows, duffel slung over his shoulder, face gaunt under the emerging moon. Run, Aiden asked, half joking, as Jordan crushed him in a hug. Wish. Dad's on a rampage, Bible quotes and belt threats. Said if I choose this path, I'm out on my ass. Jordan's voice cracked, pulling back to search Aiden's face. But screw him. I packed basics. We could hitch to the city, crash with that aunt in Cincy you mentioned. Aiden's heart seized, tempting, terrifying. Mom needs me. And you, your future. My future's you. Jordan kissed him fierce, hands roaming urgent, as if touch could seal the pact. They tumbled to the grass, clothes shedding in frantic layers. The night air nipping skin as Jordan's mouth mapped Aiden's collarbone. His sighs a litany of mine. Us. It was their first time fully bare. Bodies aligning under indifferent stars. Jordan's whispers, love you. Always, a balm on raw edges. Afterward, tangled and spent, Aiden traced the freckles on Jordan's chest. We'll make it. Dawn crept insidious, forcing goodbyes. Jordan slipped away first, duffel hidden in the truck bed. Aiden drove home, knuckles, the afterglow warring with dread. Wednesday's school was a powder keg, Tyler expelled pending appeal. His crew splintered, some apologizing in scrawled notes, others doubling down online. Aiden found Jordan in the hall between classes, their hands brushing secret quick. Tonight, Jordan mouthed. Dinner with Dad. The talk. Aiden nodded. Hope a tentative bloom. But lunch brought fracture. A group of girls cornered him by the vending machines. Not hostile but probing. Is it true? You and Ellis? That's brave. One slipped him a zine, Queer Youth Alliance flyers. Underground Network MS. Riley must have seeded. Emboldened. Aiden ate at the jock table's edge. Jordan scooting over with a wink. Whispers followed, but no fists flew. Progress. Fragile as eggshell. Then, the bomb, fourth period. Jordan didn't show for chem. Aiden texted, "Where are you?" No reply. By final bell, panic clawed his gut. He bolted to the parking lot, spotting Jordan's truck and Tyler's Mustang idling beside it, the two silhouetted in heated argument. Aiden approached cautious, but Tyler peeled out first, tires screeching gravel. Jordan slumped against the hood, face ashen. "Ed, what happened?" Aiden's voice was steel. Jordan swallowed, eyes evading. "Ty found out about last night. Told Dad everything, the tree. The coach lost it. Said if I don't end this, no college, no nothing. He's calling scouts today, tanking my apps." Aiden's world funneled to a pinprick. And Jordan's hand trembled as he gripped Aiden's. "I can't. But maybe space? Till it cools. Betrayal. Round 3, sharper? Because this time it wore love's face." Aiden wrenched free, tears blurring the lot. "Space? That's code for goodbye. Jordan. You're killing me all over again." "No, wait." But Aiden was already running. The note's words mocking him. The worst is the silence from those who know better. He skipped the Oak that night, barricading in his room with headphones blasting Hosier. Take Me to Church a dirge for his shattered faith. Mom knocked once. "You okay?" "Hon." But he feigned sleep. The lie bitter as bile. Thursday dawned vengeful. Rumors swirled that Jordan had straightened out. Tyler reinstated on good behavior. Aiden confronted him in the bathroom, mirror shards reflecting their wreckage. "Why?" Jordan's reflection wept. "Dad threatened Mom, divorce if I don't fix myself. Therapy? Conversion shit. I caved. For them." Aiden's fist connected with the sink, porcelain cracking like his resolve. "Fuck your family. What about ours?" "It's over," Jordan whispered, fleeing as the bell rang. The hall spun, Aiden's vision tunneling. He stumbled to the principal's office, demanding mic time at Friday's pep rally. "One last note," he said, voice steel. Hargrove relented, pity in her eyes. That night, alone in the trailer, Aiden rewrote the ending. Not defeat, but defiance. "They took my love, my safety, my hope. But they won't take my voice." He folded it, a dagger of words, and dreamed of Jordan's freckles fading to ghosts. Friday's rally packed the gym, Spirit Week banners flapping like surrender flags. Aiden took the stage, envelope in hand, 800 faces, a sea of judgment and curiosity. Jordan lurked in the back, arms crossed, Tyler smirking beside him. "I wrote this for the boy who broke me," Aiden began, voice amplified, steady. "And for the school that watched." The gym's acoustics turned Aiden's voice into something larger than himself, a resonant wave crashing over the crowd. The envelope's pages unfurling like sails in a gale. He read deliberate, each word a stone skipped across still water. rippling out to touch every corner of Elmwood High. You think bullying's just bruises? It's the mirror that cracks when you look too long. The laugh that dies in your throat. The love you bury because the world says it's wrong. The air thickened. Whispers dying to pin-drop silence. Even Tyler's smirk faltering into unease. Aiden's eyes scanned the faces, freshmen wide-eyed. Teachers nodding solemn. Riley beaming from the sidelines like a proud sentinel. Jordan stood rooted, color draining from his cheeks, the weight of his choices etched in the furrow of his brow. I loved a boy who wore courage like a second skin, until fear made him shed it. He chose silence over me, family over us, and it hollowed him out. But here's the truth, love doesn't bend to ultimatums. It breaks you open, shows the light inside. Aiden's voice cracked on that line, tears tracing familiar paths. But he didn't stop, couldn't? Not with the school's pulse thundering in his ears. The final paragraph built to crescendo, so to the wolves, howl all you want. To the cowards, your chains are heavier than mine. And to anyone hiding like I did, come out. The air's sweeter on this side, even if it stings. Elmwood, this is our note. Write the next one better. He folded the pages, the mic feedback a dying echo, and stepped back to thunderous applause, mixed with sobs, a few defiant boos, but mostly raw, human sound. The rally dissolved into chaos reborn, kids surging forward, not to jeer but to touch his arm, slip notes into his hands. Thank you. Me too. Sorry. A circle formed around him. Riley herding stragglers into an impromptu huddle. Group therapy starts Monday, she announced. Queer and allies welcome. No judgments. Jordan pushed through last. Face a map of regret. Reaching but not quite touching. Ed. That was speechless, Aiden supplied. Voice wry but edged with ice. The crowd thinned, leaving them in a bubble of fluorescent hush. Jordan nodded, throat working. Dad heard the broadcast, stormed in raging. Mom. She stopped him. Said if he pushes you away, he loses me too. We're talking. Real talk. No more bullshit. Aiden searched those blue eyes, finding fractures mended tentative. And you? Still in. More than ever. Jordan's hand found his. Tentative. Then firm. Forgive me? Again. Aiden exhaled. The weight lifting fractional. One day at a time. But yet. For the boy under the oak. They walked out together. Hands linked brazen in the hallway. Ignoring the stares, some scandalized, others softening into smiles. The news vans waited, mics thrusting like spears, but Aiden waved them off with a practiced grin. Story's just starting, he said, Jordan's shoulder warm against his. The weeks blurred into tentative thaw. Tyler's expulsion stuck. His family decamping to a cousin's in Indiana amid whispers of a lawsuit. Coach Ellis attended mandatory sensitivity training. His grunts evolving to grudging nods in the halls. Jordan's scholarship wobbled but held. Scouts praising his character growth. Aiden's note spawned ripples. A GSA club chartered overnight. Murals blooming on lockers with fists raised in rainbow hues. Even the local paper running a series on Midwest Hearts. Mom framed a copy of the article on the trailer wall, right beside Aiden's elementary school finger paintings. "My brave boy," she'd say, ruffling his hair over pot roast. Her diner shifts easing as tips poured in from sympathetic regulars. Aiden enrolled in online courses for Pratt Institute. Sketches of urban skylines filling his books. Dreams of Manhattan's pulse pulling him forward. Jordan and he? A work in progress. Dates in Columbus coffee shops where no one knew their names. Hands intertwined under diner tables without fear. Fights flared, Jordan's lingering doubts. Aiden's scars flaring tender, but makeups were fiercer. Nights tangled in Jordan's basement, post-conversion therapy boycott, where whispers built futures, shared apartment. Art shows? Football camps with pride flags on the sidelines. One crisp December evening. Snow dusting the oak tree like confectioner sugar. They lay bundled in a quilt stolen from Jordan's truck. Breath fogging in twin clouds. "Remember the note?" Jordan murmured. Fingers tracing Aiden's jaw. Aiden chuckled, nuzzling closer. "How could I forget? Left you speechless. Worth every word." Jordan kissed his temple. Soft as snowfall. "Love you, Ed." No chains. "Love you back." Aiden's voice was steady. The boy who'd once shattered now whole. Pieced with ink and courage. Elmwood didn't transform overnight. No fairy tale metamorphosis, but cracks let light in. The next graduating class would inherit a school less shadowed. Aiden's note a cornerstone in the foundation. And as he drove toward horizons broader than cornfields, sketchbook on the passenger seat, Aiden glanced in the rearview, not at the past, but the road ahead, endless in his. In the end, it wasn't the bullying or the betrayal that defined him. It was the note, the one that silenced the wolves and woke the watchers. And in its echo, Aiden found not just survival, but song.